hosting industry is growing at a much faster pace in the last few years in Asia Pac, and a lot of businesses, they are getting online and they're starting to transact online, and they're looking for affordable ways by which they can acquire customers, and having a website online, making it secure, making payments available, etc. Those are some of the things which businesses are looking at, and we see that trend pretty much penetrating a lot in the Asia Pac region. So hosting in general is definitely growing at a much faster pace in the Asia Pac region. I think it's resonating the same in India as well, and the Indian consumers are generally very price sensitive, and they're looking for offerings which are also very price sensitive in terms of the value for money what they get from those solutions, and hosting as such is something which they're expecting to be available at a much more affordable price, and the hosting providers are also starting to offer some pretty good offerings as well. So in general, the Indian market is also pretty growing at a much faster pace as well, and hosting providers are complementing that and making solutions much more affordable. I think there should be a lot more innovation in the hosting segment as such, and going back to the specific question about targeted solutions as such, yes, customers, some of the customers have very specific needs, and having a one-size-fits-all kind of solution does not work anymore. So customers are looking for very specific solutions, and there are some hosting providers who are also offering such targeted offerings. For example, let's say something on WordPress, something very specialized for that customer to be able to meet his needs also. So I think the hosting providers are starting to look at this, but I think they can be a little bit more creative and more innovative as well. In terms of the buying behavior, let's start with that. The buying behavior in terms of customers, they are very much familiar and getting ready to buy online nowadays. They were ready to transact online, and they're starting to make digital payments and payments online as well. Previously, cash used to be the predominant mode of payments. So now from a payments perspective, customers are very familiar, very comfortable with using their credit cards online. That's a big transitional shift from the days of paying cash. And also customers are also looking for example, security aspects, whether the websites, what they're transacting with are secure enough. So they're looking at the security tag, the HTTPS tags and things like that as well. So that is the shift we are seeing. And they're also expecting the hosting providers to be their custodians of their data. They're protecting their intellectual property, which is their websites and all of that as well. So we see that as a transformational change in the Indian market. And going back to the question about the infrastructure specifications, there's definitely some awareness which the hosting community has created amongst the masses about the infrastructure in terms of how good they can be, etc. But I think it's again goes back to the responsibility of the hosting provider to provide the right offerings to the customers in terms of selling the right, for example, the infrastructure specifications or infrastructure to the customer for meeting their specific needs. So this is something where hosting providers are doing it. I think they could do a little bit more, helping them to get really what the customer really needs. Yeah, Plesk over the years has evolved from being a pure play control panel to be a solution provider. So that the needs of the customers are becoming very varied right now, and Plesk as a solution provider is now coming up with multiple offerings, including their extensions, for example, with WordPress toolkit, with additional extensions which are really able to help the customer to secure his website, secure his business as such by way of transaction as such. So the shift in terms of what Plesk is able able to offer, being control panel to a solution provider, is really helping us to be able to meet our customer needs. And also, the customers are looking for a one-stop provider who is able to be their IT advisor rather than IT vendor. So the hosting providers are using Plesk as an opportunity to be able to meet that demand of being an IT advisor. And certainly we have benefited quite a lot in terms of how Plesk has come up with these offerings, and we're able to pitch it in the right way, which meets the needs of the customers.